because
I thought they were
all-day
doing it.
YouTube
I thought Michael said.
extravaganza.
That was stupid.
It's not the way you.
That was
beer.
Hello, Mother. This is Half Mental, the show that's 90% baseball and the other half mental. I'm Holt.
And I'm Dan. We're going to go back over the last month of baseball, the month of May, and get you guys caught up on some major storylines. I think we have to start again on the Chicago Cubs.
Go, Cubs, go.
Hey,
Hey, Cubbies, what do you say? The Cubs are gonna win today.
You know, I was a
that
little hesitant to hate on them so much in the first show.
Yeah.
But
Why?
they've really earned it in the last month.
Okay.
And it happened. The meat of it happened in a series against the Cardinals. So the Cubs manager is Joe Maddon, who is well known and respected as this like cultural
Kind of
like
quirky.
man of the world.
Yeah, good one.
Like sort of like a more evolved baseball manager, right? Is that fair?
Yeah. He brings like zoo animals into
Yeah.
the clubhouse before a game.
Yeah. He's a Neanderthal, it turns out, is what he is.
Go on.
So the Cubs were playing the Cardinals, and the Cubs had a rookie called up who was playing in his first Major League Baseball game.
Is this Ian Happ?
Yes.
He seems like a chode.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And Happ was on first base. It was first and third, and Rizzo was at the plate and hit a ground ball to a double play ball. I think the ball probably went to our second baseman.
Okay.
Second baseman shuttled it to the shortstop. Ian Happ slid past the bag, losing contact with the bag, and our shortstop did not throw the ball to first to complete the double play. The rule in Major League Baseball is both runners can be called out in that situation,
Right.
which is what the umpire did.
Okay.
And it doesn't get called every time, but that's the rule. You have to attempt
It's basically like defensive interference.
Right.
Or, yeah.
offense. It's
Yeah,
offensive
interfering with the
interference.
defense.
And it was a day that John Lester was pitching,
Oh, great.
the happiest man in baseball, and he and Maddon just totally lost it. And
Wait, is this Lester or Lackey?
this is Lester,
Okay.
because I get them mixed up. Joe Maddon says, when you're sliding on dirt and you have momentum, you just keep going. How many times has Ian Happ slid on a baseball diamond in his life?
Probably.
10,000
Yeah.
times?
Yeah.
He knows where his body is going.
Right.
There's no malicious intent there whatsoever. The rule does not belong in the game. There was nothing egregiously dangerous on the part of our runner. So a play's not dangerous, though, until someone gets hurt, is
Right.
essentially the issue.
Until someone's femur's snapped in half.
Right. And he goes on to say how it's not the rule's job to protect the players and all this stuff. Lester actually has the most extreme reaction, which is not super surprising. Lester says, that's baseball, man. We're out there playing with a bunch of pansies right now. I mean, I'm over it. I'm over this damn slide rule and replaying if it was too far and all this BS, man. We're all men out there. We're grown men. This is a grown man who, when someone does something he doesn't like on the baseball diamond, like hit a home run against him or call a strike or a
Or
ball,
leads off a little bit
Yeah.
too far.
he yells fuck at them as loud as he can because he's a man and that's how he handles things. These guys know how to get the hell out of the way. So I just think it's a really good reminder.
Yeah. The Cubs are having the sort of diva,
Yeah.
World Series diva
Yeah.
phase.
And Maddon followed this the following week. I don't remember the day exactly. I think he had his 1,000th managerial win.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And because he is the wizened cultural man that he is, he like celebrated with a glass of red
saw
wine
this.
at his press conference.
Is actually something called the Big Smooth. Coach Lester Strode gave him some water for the plane ride, brought it in, and it's actually really good. It is the Big Smooth. It's got this velvet label on it and I guess they can't keep it on the shelves. I think it's primarily because of the label. However, the juice is good also.
We're in a really exciting, I think we're in a really exciting era of players. We talked a lot about Bryce Harper last time, and I think we talked about George Springer, just really athletic, really good players. But most notably, I think that history may show that we currently have the best pitcher and best hitter of all time playing right now.
Right now.
In Clayton Kershaw and Mike Trout. And it's really interesting.
No argument here.
They're in really different positions, right? So Kershaw's been on overall a very successful team pretty much his whole career. And they maybe haven't made the playoffs every season, but pretty close. He's won an MVP, which is rare for a pitcher. He's won 3 Cy Youngs already. He's signed for another 5 years or something, right?
Yeah.
He's in a stable position. And in fact, Buster Olney from ESPN has been sort of carrying his flag for the last week on he's already Hall of Famer. He might already be the best of all time. He almost will certainly be the best of all time by the time he retires.
Yeah.
Mike Trout is 25 years old, has won 3 MVPs, and arguably should have won 2 more. He lost to Miguel Cabrera when Cabrera had a Triple Crown.
Did you see his home run last night?
Yes.
Another 2-2, and Trout drives one out to deep left field. Oh my, that is long gone. 1-0 Angels. Well, I'm guessing he's not going to go back-to-back games without a hit. And that baseball was literally screaming out of the ballpark. Stanton territory here at Marlins Park.
It's a big one.
445 feet.
Yeah.
113 miles an hour off the bat.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. So why don't you talk more about Clayton Kershaw?
Okay. So he already. Oh, you know what cool thing he did? And it was the game he pitched against the Cardinals, I think.
Yes.
Following the game, his WHIP went below 1 for his career. So
what did his name do?
So WHIP is a statistic. It stands for walks and hits per inning pitched. And typically, I think average players live in a 1.5 base runner per inning is kind of what the stat means. And he does not allow a base runner per inning now over his career.
Yeah, that's insane.
And it's like him and Mariano Rivera who hold that career mark.
Right. It was a closer.
Right. Yeah, so that's the interesting thing. And I remember reading about this last year. Clayton Kershaw is essentially, he has the statistics of elite closers every year as far as strikeouts and walks.
But he's got 7 times the inning pitched.
Yeah, but he pitches 200 innings every year.
Yeah.
It's totally unheard of.
Yeah.
I had some concerns about what he was going to do this year because he had an injury last year for the first time in his career.
Yeah.
But he's been as good as he's ever been.
I think
there's no concerns, essentially.
Right. I have a lot to say about Clayton because I feel
it's going to be emotional stuff.
A personal connection with him. Eventually he's going to have to start pitching differently. He cannot be this power pitcher that he has been for much longer. I think he'll start pitching to contact soon.
I don't consider him a power pitcher. He's a strikeout pitcher. But a slider and curveball are his best pitches, right?
Yeah, I guess I was thinking the strikeouts is what would define his power. He throws 97.
His game will change. That always happens.
I'm just saying he is notorious for these complete game 115 pitches,
Right.
12 strikeouts. I think we're going to see in the next couple of years that change to like, you know, complete game, 115 pitches, but maybe a couple, strikeouts. He'll have more than a couple, but I just think he'll make that like Greg Maddux transformation eventually, where he starts just like painting corners. You know, he goes from the Hulk to Picasso pretty quickly here in the next couple of years. Don't you think? I want to face him. Like, I want to take an at-bat against him so bad. It's the weirdest thing. Yeah. It's, like, difficult to hit, like, for Major League Baseball players. And obviously I'm on par with them. No, I just want to see what it's like. And I guess it's because I watch the Dodgers constantly. I listen to the Dodgers whenever I can. If he's pitching, I pretty much drop everything I do to watch him. So I've seen him miss so many bats. I've seen guys look like, a little leaguer that is swinging on a tee that has never swung on a tee before. Yeah. So I just want to, and I don't even think, like, in my mind, I'm like, I could make contact against him. I could maybe, foul one off. Like, I would be happy if I just, made any sort of contact. But also, the other part of me thinks that he's going to throw a curveball that will, like, make my knees buckle and break. Yeah. And I'm okay with that. Yeah. If
I think facing Major League pitching would be the scariest thing.
Yeah. If there's a reason why I couldn't walk again.
And it was because
I hope that it's because Clayton Kershaw has just buckled my knees with Uncle Charlie.
I think it's neat to see a guy like Clayton Kershaw. As a Cardinal fan, the best Cardinal of all time is Stan Musial.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Clayton Kershaw. I was going to punch you.
No, I don't. No, and I think that you're living a time when your franchise's Stan Musial is playing. Yeah. And he kind of completes, like, Stan Musial was known as like this community guy, and right. It was pre-free agency and stuff, but he famously gave back money one year when he had a bad year because he didn't think he'd earned his contract. Like, they just do stuff that, like, other professional athletes don't do. Yeah. While also being the best of all time. Right. I'm happy for you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a real honor. Thanks, Clayton. Thank you so much, Clayton.
A new part of our baseball coverage on ESPN this year, and has done a great job. And Hunter Strickland, now here we go. Harper's charging the mound. Oh my goodness. Whoa. Well, Harper, who hit 2 home runs against Hunter Strickland in the playoffs in 2014. Strickland drilled him with the first pitch, and Harper took it personally, and I don't blame him. And that was a real fight. Yeah, those were punches thrown and punches landed. My goodness.
I think we strongly disagree.
I know that we do.
Okay.
But it's just the wrong way to play baseball. It's not in the rules, right? So, like, hard slides injure people, but you're allowed to slide. Yeah. You are not allowed, like, there is an automatic penalty for hitting someone with a baseball because they get to go to first base. Because it's not considered, right? Does that make sense? Yeah. And there are so many instances where everyone knows that people are doing it on purpose, and then afterwards the player's just like, yeah, one got away from me, I don't know.
The game will police itself.
Yeah. And it's just like an old guard, bad way, I think, to look at baseball as a product. Freddie Freeman, who was an MVP candidate after the first month of baseball, is out for 10 to 12 weeks because he got hit on the hand by a Toronto Blue Jays pitcher, in which the Blue Jays hit 7 Braves in a series. They were just trying to hit people.
You think so? You think there's intent behind hitting 7 people? I mean, you would almost think it.
You think they? Yeah.
Yeah. These are major.
Because they don't accident. Yeah, I mean they don't.
They're paid to throw a ball in a very.
They're really good at hitting the spot, right? So yes, an occasional one's going to get away, right? You can't. have total policing over every ball that hits somebody. But everybody knows when, there's very little mystery as to when it's on purpose and when it's on accident. And I think if they have to err, I think erring on the side of protecting players is an important choice to make.
Right. So I think there's no room for throwing at someone's head.
Yeah, but...
And I think there's no, just because literally, we're in an era in the game where people are throwing 100 miles an hour.
Right.
You literally could kill someone.
Right.
It's going to happen. And then something's going to change once that happens. But unfortunately, I really try and not talk about Dodgers all the time, but I watch them all the time. So we played the Marlins last week, and some really childish shit went down in one of our games.
Yeah.
So this is kind of where I contest what you're saying, is because we hit a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 7th to make it 7-0. And I just want to make it clear that running up a score in basketball or in football is totally different, in my opinion, than running up the score in baseball. Yes, when a batter goes up, they want to make contact, but making contact is really fucking hard. Yeah. It's so hard. It's not okay, we're up 47-3, let's just kneel the ball and run the clock out.
Right.
It's this isn't at bat, I'm going to swing hard because that's what I do. You know what I mean?
And baseball, there is no clock. That's part of the beauty of the game is the other team has 27 outs just like you do.
So Cody Bellinger ends up hitting a 2-run home run to make it 7-0.
Yeah. And Don Mattingly's feelings were hurt.
Yeah, which was kind of ridiculous.
I know.
The Marlins pitcher took exception to the home run for some reason.
Yeah.
Which is, he didn't even, you can go back and watch it. He doesn't pimp the home run or anything. He runs the bases just like he was supposed to. They end up drilling the guy in the rib, the next batter in the rib.
Seager's been right in the middle of them. And there's a long shot to center, and Cody Bellinger's gone the other way. A 2-run home run. Brett Eibner just got hit.
This is shit that happens in high school. Oh, dude hit a home run off me, I'm going to hit the next guy. That. There's no room in the game for that.
But that's what that stuff happens that's
right.
That's the majority of when this stuff happens, is they're upset that somebody else did something that made them look bad.
The injustice in the way things work right now is the next inning, Ross Stripling for the Los Angeles Dodgers throws a pitch behind Stanton.
On purpose.
On purpose. Doesn't even fucking hit him.
But he wanted to.
Maybe.
Probably.
Message sent. But he gets thrown out of the game immediately.
Tonight in his outing, he'll not be involved in the decision. And now Stripling hits Stanton with a pitch. And the thought is that is retaliation for A.J. Ramos.
Kershaw is in the middle of it, jawing at Stanton right now.
Oh my God. So we just get a guy who gets hit in the fucking ribs at 92 miles an hour. We throw a pitch behind a dude that doesn't even touch him, and we're fucking penalized.
So
that's crazy. That shit's wrong, man.
Yeah, so I think, so they need to be harder on everyone who hits people with baseballs.
But that gets, so it's just so difficult because you are throwing a thing at 98 miles an hour, and you might want to throw a pitch high and in. I'm not saying you want to hit the guy in the chin or the elbow or anything. But to set up that low and outside curveball, to make that pitch almost impossible to hit, maybe you throw something high and hard.
Yeah, and I understand that. And that's... So yeah, they'd have to figure out how to govern it, right? Or whatever. But there needs to be a deterring penalty for hitting people on purpose.
Yeah.
Ross Stripling got thrown out of the game, but then could have pitched the next day. And the Marlins pitcher did not get thrown out. It got no penalty, I assume.
Nothing, yeah.
There has to be some suspension or lost wages or something. And it's easy to say, well, don't throw at people's heads. But Freddie Freeman broke his hand, and people will occasionally get injured and not be able to come back from that injury.
Right.
And a broken hand is particularly a scary one.
Yeah.
There was evidence Jason Hayward got hit, I think, in the ear hole early in his career.
His was nasty.
His cracked the helmet, right?
Yeah.
And there was evidence following that he couldn't hit inside pitches after that because he wasn't.
Well, yeah, once that happens once, you're going to be like, holy fuck, that pitch is coming close.
Yeah. So it's affecting the game. Jason Hayward was a bright young star at the time that happened. And I don't remember Hayward's if there was reason to believe that was on purpose or not.
I don't know. It's I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying. Like, I don't ever want to see anyone get hurt. It's just a really hard thing to police because it's like you're throwing a ball this big into a target this big and at 99 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing to do, especially in the late innings when you're getting fatigue sets in and
but like a starting pitcher, let's say a starting pitcher throws 100 pitches in a game. How many are for strikes?
Anywhere from
like 60.
I was going to say anywhere from 50 to 70.
Yeah. So they are pretty good at it. And in general,
so should we just let baseball comes down very hard on people that doctor the ball.
Yeah.
And I think it's coming out more lately that batters like it when guys are
because it allows grip, right?
Right, because they have better control. There's just so many unspoken like rules of the game or whatever that maybe we just need to get over at this point. I think the most interesting.
I think it's a turnoff for a new fan. I guess that gets back to the original.
Oh man, I definitely disagree with that.
Really?
I think it's like one of the intrigues of the game. Is that can I say that?
Yeah.
Is that a word?
Yes. Intrigues is a word.
Okay. One of the intriguing aspects of the game. There's just, that's next episode is like, what is intriguing about baseball? Because that I could talk about for hours.
So another thing.
Wait, really quick. The one thing you said that I do get, and even though I'm a little stubborn on this topic, like, I don't think anyone should be getting hit. I don't ever want to see anyone get hit in the head. Like, when you watch replays of people getting hit in the head, it's, like, hard to watch.
Yeah.
But one thing that is interesting is it does seem like everyone in the stadium knows when it happens with intent.
Right.
So why is it always the second guy that gets thrown out?
Yeah, because they've established this thing now where the umpires warn both benches that, like, hey, don't do that again.
If we're giving a warning, just get them out of the game.
Right, because the warning means the umpire thinks there was intent.
Right.
Because they don't issue a warning automatically on a
So now you're putting
hit batter.
Now you're putting the other team in the worst possible spot.
Right.
Because if they do accidentally, which we saw in the Baltimore game, guy throws a fucking curveball, hits him in the back, gets thrown out. I mean, now, when we start talking about curveballs, that's a pitch that that you throw for strike at a very small percentage. You know. Okay. Disagree?
I don't know. I just think
curveballs aren't going to hurt anyone.
Yeah, that's true. They're also traveling 20 miles an hour slower, typically.
Yeah. Maybe the Major League Baseball should make a rule.
You can only throw curveballs.
Only hit curveball. You can only hit people with curveballs.
Yeah. What if they, like... I mean, I don't know. This is getting probably a little far off. But, like, what if they, like, anonymously pulled 3 players from every team after like, a big incident and said, hey, do you think so-and-so hit this guy on purpose? And if half of them go, yeah, of course he did. That guy always does that to people. Then he gets a... whatever they decide, 10-game suspension.
Are they pulling the opposing team?
Just every team, every time. So there's 30 teams. Whatever. Figure the math out. You pull 60 guys on every time.
Okay.
And nobody knows, I mean, in theory, nobody knows who these two guys are on every team.
Yeah.
Because the players know. I mean, right?
Yeah, I kind of like, I've never even thought of this before, but I think maybe if a warning's being issued, that should be the point in which someone's being ejected.
Yeah.
Because what I think is just so shitty is when someone gets hit, warnings are issued, and then the next guy gets hit and is
Right.
thrown out. It's just,
So,
for me to be like, it's not fair. That's not what I mean. It's just not fucking fair.
right. Okay, power rankings. I am going to put at number 5 number 5 is, I think, the Boston Red Sox. Second place in the division.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of, I mean, they're kind of just good all around. They pitch well.
Yeah.
They've got good players at, I think, nearly every position. And I certainly see them making the playoffs, and then they've got Chris Sale. David Price has been hurt all year, and bad when he's played, but if he can figure it
Right.
out, that's a huge difference.
And they have last year's Cy Young winner, too.
Yeah.
Portillo.
Porcello.
Porcello.
Portobello's.
Portobello mushrooms.
Rick Porcello, yeah. And Chris Sale's having a great year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 4 is going to be, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so number 4, I'm going to put the Yankees in at number 4, right in front of the Red Sox right now. But they're still playing well. Aaron Judge has not stopped doing the things that he does well.
He did a grand slam today.
Yeah. They've kind of continued their pace. There hasn't really been much of a change there.
Yeah.
Number 3, dropping from my number 1 spot overall last time. Number 3, the Washington Nationals. Still a really good. I still feel good about them overall.
They've slowed down significantly, though.
They've slowed down. They had the big injury to Rendon right before our last power rankings.
Mm-hmm.
Trea Turner's come back to earth a little bit. Bryce Harper has not really come back to earth. He's still playing very well, but the rest of the roster has kind of cooled.
I'm sorry to interrupt your power rankings, but did you see his upper deck home run?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Harper, high in the air. See you way later. Upper deck. Number 15, the Nets on top 5-1.
I can't believe people can hit a ball that far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 2 is the LA Dodgers. They've been playing so well. They've got the best run differential in the league, right? Mm-hmm. Which is super predictive of future success. They stop people from scoring really well, and they score a lot of runs.
Yeah.
The Dodgers have had this formula for the last few years where they sign a bunch of like talented, injury-prone pitchers and just sort of hope a few of them make it through a year. And but what they've done this year is they've utilized the 10-day disabled list to just like rotate these guys in and out to where Rich Hill, Scott Kazmir is I think actually injured now.
Yeah,
right?
we just put him on the 60-day.
So, but like Rich Hill, McCarthy, there's another one I think. But they just like they're going to get to the end of the season.
Ryu.
Yeah, and Ryu. They're going to get to the end of the season with like maybe 120 innings pitched and plenty of gas in the tank.
Yeah.
And when you've got the best pitcher of all time pitching well, it's hard to argue with.
Yeah.
I still like the Houston Astros.
As your number one?
Houston Astros are my number one. Their pitching has continued to hold up. And they've just got like players. George Springer is super good. And you've got, Correa. Correa's slow at the beginning of the year, I think.
Yeah.
But I think he's heating up.
He seems kind of like superhuman to me.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him with his shirt off.
So that's my top 5.
Okay. Yeah, Dallas Keuchel got his 8th win today, or yesterday, I'm sorry.
So 8-0 now?
He's 8-0 with an ERA of 1.8.
Yeah. And he missed a start.
He
I
did.
think,
They put
because
him
of injury.
for like a neck thing, which
Yeah.
I thought was interesting. Okay. My number 5 is the Washington Nationals. So they went from 1 to 5 for me. Just because a lot of teams have kind of ramped up and they've sort of slowed down. So as of right now, for me, they're number 5. I still don't want anything to do with them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But as of right now, they just aren't as hot as they were when we last did this.
Would you want to see them with their shirt off?
No. No one on that team is really shirt-offable.
Okay.
Number 4 is the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
I think they're the second hottest team in baseball right now. Second to the Dodgers. So the Dodgers, well, hang on.
Yeah.
And I don't know, the Diamondbacks had like this big promise last year of like, we are going to bring it. We've got Greinke. We've got all these young hitters that no one really knows about. And they sucked last year.
Yeah.
And they got off to a semi-hot start, and now they're just like not really losing at all.
I can see buying the Diamondbacks a little bit.
Yeah. There's rumors of... I've heard rumors of Greinke going to the Cubs, but if the Diamondbacks are in first place...
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
There's no way that's going to happen. My number 3, and unfortunately in third place right now, is the Los Angeles Dodgers. But they're red hot. I think they're like 20... What is it? I think they're like 29-8. No. Hang on
I think
a
it was
second.
19-8.
19-8 in the last calendar month.
Yeah.
They just pitched 2 shutouts against the World Series championship Cubs.
First time a defending World Series champion has been held scoreless in 2 consecutive games with less than 3 hits.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. So we didn't just shut them out. Like, they barely got the bat on the ball.
Right.
And Alex Wood, which is awesome. Yeah. Alex Wood has 25.1, I think, scoreless inning streak going.
Yeah.
The longest scoreless inning streak in baseball right now.
Yeah.
So if somehow he can keep that up, then we're going to make it to the playoffs with an ace and a number 2 for the first time.
If he never allows another run.
Yeah, then we'll be okay.
I still think Rich Hill is your number 2, though, right? I mean, if you get Rich Hill...
I don't know, man. That blister just will not go away. It's kind of blowing my mind.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is we're in third place right now. Anyway, my number 2 is the Houston Astros. We just talked about them. They were scorching hot, and they lost their best pitcher for a while. And now they have their best pitcher back. So, Josh Reddick, who's playing right field for them, I think.
Yeah, because Springer's in left.
Yeah.
Right?
I think he's in center.
Springer center.
He said that it's the most amount of talent that he's ever seen on one team. And that guy's played on some pretty...
He was on the Dodgers last year.
And then Oakland A's when they were so good, like 2 or 3 years ago.
I mean, they weren't that good.
Yeah, I guess you're right. And then my number 1 is the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah.
And I know it's insane. Right. I have 3 from the West Division.
Okay, so who's going to win the NL West?
I mean, I hope the Dodgers do.
The Dodgers are going, like, the Rockies are not I don't even see the Rockies making the playoffs.
Well,
I think they're pitching way over their heads. They're not. Mark Reynolds is not the best batter in the National League.
so right now the Dodgers would be the second best team in the American League, and they're in third place. Like, I know that it's early and it's a fairly small sample size. We're technically, like, I think a quarter of the way in.
Yeah, it's about a quarter.
But man, okay, so the Rockies pitching is a big question mark, but their hitting is
Yeah, like
just
name a Rockies pitcher.
can't.
Yeah.
I really can't. I don't know.
And that's not always the best test, but it's not the worst test either.
But their hitting is so good.
Charlie Blackmon is super good.
Yeah. And these are all guys that we had the privilege of watching for a while here in Tulsa. Blackmon was in Tulsa.
Yeah.
Arenado was in Tulsa. Rosario was in Tulsa, although I don't think he's their starting catcher anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, as of the way I think of power rankings is like as of today.
Yeah, and the Rockies did just obliterate the Cardinals over a series. Mm-hmm. Like, I think we lost 10-0 and then like 7-0, and it was just horribly embarrassing baseball.
Yeah.
But I still just don't believe them. Like, I'd play them again before a lot of other teams, I think. If I'd like pick a team for my team to play against.
I know, and that's what scares me. Everyone's thinking, "Oh, the Rockies are coming to town."
But like, if the Rockies in the next 2 weeks lost a bunch of games 6-5, would anyone be that surprised? I wouldn't be.
Yeah. Well, they're my number one, and they're really good. They just kicked the shit out of your team.
I know they did.
They've kicked the shit out of us like 6 times this year.
Yeah.
So, anything else, Dan? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. This is Half Mental. That's it for now. Until next time, you can find us on Instagram at Hello Mother Media.
Twitter, halfmentalbb, or Gmail,
What's the
halfmentalbaseball@gmail.com. Send us your thoughts or questions.
We sort of want some participation. So if you guys have any questions or anything you want us to talk about, whatever. I know there's probably not many people watching this, but send it anyway. You know you'll get on air. So
There you go.
see you next time. Cheers.
Is actually something called the Big Smooth.